That deserves a follow or a subscription. Oh, and I run into that. Way to ruin that cool moment. That was a perfect drift. And I just ruined it. I ruin everything cool I do. Well, I wasn't expecting to see you there. One of my favorite things to do when it comes to gaming is to just go into a store, find some random title I've never heard of, come home and try it out. It's something I've been doing a lot here recently when it comes to my gaming choices, and I'm kind of in the mood to do that again. The idea is to go out into a store, find something that I really know hardly anything about, and try it out. That's the whole idea to this completely. So I headed off to Walmart. Normally I go to GameStop, but I decided to go to Walmart because they're open a little bit later and we was out kind of late. So we ventured into Wally World, and honestly I feel so weird filming in public. I don't like it. I'm gonna have to like figure out some kind of incognito mode. But I went over to check out the PS4 and the Switch stuff. Those are the consoles I have. Typically I lean more toward the Switch side than the PS4 side. But yeah, I started just kind of wandering around, seeing what they had. Autumn found this weird American Werewolf in London action figure I don't recognize at all from the movie. And you better believe I checked out that cleared section. Alright, so it's the next morning, and let's go over what I did pick up from Wally World. Why did I tie the top of the bag? Alright. I did end up getting NHL 22 for the PS4. I have a buddy of mine who has this game, and I've never played a hockey game. So when I was looking at the games, I thought, you know what, I've never played a hockey game. I don't even know how people play hockey. I don't know what the rules are or anything like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna... Ooh, there's code. I'm gonna grab the hockey game, because I could also play with my buddy. Is this even a code? No, it's just an advertisement for ePlay. And you get a little control thing, so... a little bit of paperwork. This was marked $39.98, which I knew on Amazon it was $29.88 because I'm gonna check pricing, and sure enough it was at Walmart too, so they did price match their own website. So that was number one. Number two, I was in the mood for a racing game. I've not really played much racing games here recently, so I went... oh, I'm opening already. I went for Hot Wheels Unleashed. This was really between this and Cruisin' Blast. And I did get the guy to open it up, and oh, there's nothing on the inside. I did get the guy to open up the case and let me look at both of them. And I don't know, this one just seemed more fun to me. I could be very wrong on that one. What really sold me on it was the big spider track thing. So, Hot Wheels Unleashed. I went with the Switch version over the PS4 just because I typically like the Switch better. Oh, I guess I should say this was 41 something at Walmart. The last game I picked up is Katamari Damacy Reroll. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, on PS4. I did look at this on the Switch. The Switch was $20, and the PS4 version was $12.88. They only had one copy of the PS4 version, so I decided to go with that because it was being so much cheaper. This one's not a complete flying by for me because I have seen Game Grumps play, I don't know if it's this game, but a game like this. So I kind of know a little bit to expect, but I've never played it, so we shall see. So that's the 3 games I decided to end up grabbing for this episode, and let's check out some games. Sports games haven't always been my forte. I know I have the peak male physique to master any sport I'd ever want to play in real life, but that's kind of lame, and I'd rather be behind a screen so my opponents don't realize who they're up against. In all seriousness though, I've never been much of a sports gamer or a fan of sports in general, but as a younger kid I did from time to time play some, mainly baseball games and NASCAR, if you want to count NASCAR as a sports game. So when I got that itch to play some sports games, I was really trying to figure out what game I'd want. A buddy of mine mentioned he has NHL 22, so when I was looking at games and saw a copy that I could price match for, I decided to grab it since I knew I at least had someone I could play online with. I've never played a hockey game before, and honestly I knew very little about the sport outside of like Mighty Ducks and Goon.
You know, not only are these ducks mighty, they're really ducks!
so going into this one I really had no idea what I was getting into. Launching up the game led to some stuttering, so we're off to a good start. You need to set up your settings, which if you know nothing about hockey, you just kind of click through everything to get to the home screen menu. At least that's what I did. Once you're there, you'll see a plethora of different game modes. Honestly, out of the gate, this game looks like it has a lot to offer. You get to pick your favorite team. That will be your default team that you play as, but you can always change the team. I went with the Arizona Coyotes simply because I like their logo and color scheme best. I found out later apparently they're one of the worst teams in the league, but I'll be damned if I don't love that logo. I knew going into this game I'm not looking for the career mode or some of the other modes that a game like this offers, like the create your own player or team, customize your teams, or anything like that. These modes in these kind of games just aren't for me. I never bother with them because what I'm looking for is some kind of arcade style playing. Just let me play some games against AI or against friends, either online or couch co-op. From what my buddy says, the franchise mode is actually pretty fun and very long if you're into that kind of thing. But I'm only going to comment on what I actually played. I jumped into a quick game, my first game being against the Boston Bruins. Why do they have more stats and players shown than my team? Going into the game not really knowing how hockey works other than that you hit the puck into the other team's net, not letting them do that to you and punching every motherfucker in between, I was off to the races. This first game I had no idea what the controls were or really how to play, but baptism by ice is what I say. After a few minutes I was starting to get down what the controls were. This first game being on the hybrid control setting, which is the recommended setting. I ended up beating the Bruins 3-1 on easy mode. There's no way I'd survive on any other difficulty, but I'd begin to play around with the settings after this game. Shorting the period times and changing the control layout from hybrid to the NHL 94 controls, cutting down the controls to only a few buttons, I was off to face the Blue Jackets. While the 94 controls really limit what you're able to pull off with trick shots and the full control, you get much more of that arcade gameplay feeling, which is exactly what I'm looking for. With shorter periods as well, it boiled down to a very fast-paced, quick arcade-style hockey game that honestly, I was loving. I was surprised by how much I got wrapped up into the game, and how intense some of the really good back and forth during the game would get. It's very satisfying to have some really good back and forth with no penalties, and keeping up with the puck can create some moments of frantic energy that I was really surprised with. Scoring a goal even on easy mode is rather hard at times. The game does give you an indicator of when's a good time to take a shot, but it's still hard to get past the goalie. So when you finally make a goal, it feels great. It feels like a real feat to accomplish. Most of the time I spent with the game was in a game mode like this, even when I did venture into playing some online with my buddy. Thanks again, DJ M Forever. There will be a link to his Twitch and YouTube in the description. Thanks again for streaming some with me. It was a lot of fun to play this game against a friend, and I could see myself jamming in some games with friends or with Autumn and local play. To me, it just feels like a game that is probably best suited to play with others. I did try out the season mode a little bit, and I was kind of turned off for the time being with it since you play so many games. It's like a full season, and at this time I didn't really find a way to lower the game amount. This isn't bad since you can play a game or two and then move on with your day, but for the time being I just abandoned this game mode. I also played some ones, which is gonna sound weird to say out loud. I played a game mode called Ones, which is where it's basically 3-for-all against one goalie. And this was a fun little quick mode as well. I don't see myself playing it very often, but it was fun. As for the graphics though, I thought it looked pretty good from a distance. The crowd and the players look good from gameplay, but once you zoom in, they look rather questionable. Announcers are also fine, but if I turn them off, I probably wouldn't notice a difference. And honestly, probably moving forward, I probably more than likely would turn them off. I did turn the music off in fear of copyrighted music, so there's no really comments for me on the choice of music. I don't know if they use copyrighted music or not. I just turned it off out of the gate. I kind of ventured into building a custom hockey player, and there's quite a bit of options here if you really wanted to build yourself or custom veteran players. Again, it's not really something that's for me in a game like this. Usually RPGs or wrestling games is where I really enjoy the custom characters, but it is here if you're looking for that. Honestly, I was surprised by just how much this game does offer between customization, controller layouts, and an abundance of game modes that can be really configured to any player. From people like me who's looking for more of an arcade experience, or to players who are looking for a little bit more of a hockey simulator, it feels like it's all there for everybody in between as well. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed playing this game, and while I'm not going to be sinking hours upon hours into it, I do see myself from time to time picking up a few games. This one really did scratch that itch I was looking for.
God. What just happened? What was that? Lucius, I'm flying through the air. This is not good.
Another thing I was in the mood for was an arcade racer. I love racing games, but I've been in the mood for a good arcade racer for a little while now. Not like a kart racer or a racing sim, but something that could offer up some fun racing gameplay and some really cool tracks. I was up in the air between Hot Wheels Unleashed and Cruisin' Blastin', but I went for Hot Wheels Unleashed after looking at the back of them and thinking the tracks might be really fun. Loading up the game, I immediately knew that I picked probably right. First things first, I adore the design of this game. From the plastic cars to the tracks that look like Hot Wheels tracking placed in lived environments, makes you feel like you're really playing with a small plastic toy car. From the plastic seams on the tires to how lightweight your car feels when you hit bumps and just go flying, it's just an awesome aesthetic for a Hot Wheels and racing game. One of my favorite racers as a kid was RC Revenge Pro on the PS2. It's a kart racer with little cars and some big environments, and I always loved it, sinking a ton of hours into it as a kid. And Hot Wheels Unleashed honestly reminds me a lot of that game minus the kart racer aspects. You jump straight into a race to begin to learn the controls, and the controls are simple. Forward, reverse, brake, and boost, and that's pretty much it. For me personally, I adore the drifting in this game. It's a little weird to get used to at first, but with some practice, it can be really satisfying to hit a perfect drift around a corner into a boost. The more I played the game, the more I honestly fell in love with the drifting in the game. The drift is also one way to refill your boost. With the tracks, there's different elements used that really open up the tracks to have some amazing moments. From massive loops, sharp turns, no edges, magnetic tracks that invert, track hazards, and boost strips. There's honestly not really a track I can remember playing that I really hated. The only track elements I really didn't care much for was the volcano and the spiders. The volcano just caused me a lot of really close and tight time trial moments, and the spiders are like snipers. I swear they get you every time. The tracks are also pretty much open to find all kinds of amazing shortcuts. Some harder than others, but there seems to be a lot of them scattered around, and some of them can be really awesome to go through. There's also a ton of tracks in each of the track worlds, 5 worlds in total. The basement, skate park, college campus, garage, and skyscraper. The tracks are sprawled out among the environments in each world really well. For game modes, there's quick race, time trial, online racing, track editor, and city rumble. City rumble being the story mode, quest mode, which is where I spent most of my time with this one. You drop into a map and begin working your way through challenges from racing to time trials, beating track bosses that hit the track with unique hazards. The Yeti throws out ice, it gets rid of your brake power and traction. The pterodactyl has whirlwinds, the scorpion has an acid that drains your boost, and so on and so on. The race challenges are simple, just win the race. There are special tracks like a track completion that you need to finish the track first. It's just one big old long noodly track that you need to get to the end of, and the bosses are just regular races with the aforementioned hazards. Time trials are simple, beat the course under the time trial timer, and each time trial also has an additional challenge of the unleashed time, which can be rather tight sometimes. And sometimes you need to find a shortcut to probably beat it. You only need to beat the gold time to move on, but the unleashed time is to help 100% the game. As you venture through City Rumble, you'll unlock coins, gears, blind boxes, and other cars, along with secrets. Secrets are special events or prizes that you need to complete a task beforehand to unlock. You'll basically need to beat all 5 bosses before you can really start taking on the secrets, so kind of consider them a post-game venture. Now let's talk about the elephant-sized microtransaction in the room. This game is loaded with microtransactions. You earn coins and gears in the game, where the coins can be used to purchase tracks, cars, and blind boxes, and gears are used to upgrade cars, giving them better stats. When I first saw this, I was very annoyed, because the game also has a season pass setup similar to Fortnite, and I was worried that I'd have to dump a ton of money into the game or massively grind in order to unlock and play a lot of the game. However, as you venture through City Rumble, you do unlock a large amount of cars, and you do unlock all the tracks as well. So you do not need to spend any money on tracks, since you can just unlock them this way. It gives you an option to spend coins to unlock the tracks out of the gate, but you can easily unlock them by playing the game without much grinding. Personally, to get a lot of this game, I just highly recommend going through City Rumble, which took me a little over 11 hours to do, but it's really fun, so it's not that big of a deal, at least for me. To unlock more cars, you need to either buy blind boxes or wait for special deals that are updated frequently, or get the season battle pass. The special deals feature a certain amount of cars you could just buy outright with coins. I never really looked at the coin conversion rate for US dollars, so I'm not sure, but again, I earned a bunch of it from City Rumble. And it looks like if you get a season pass, if you're one of those people, you'll earn a lot of coins
coins as well. There is a ton of cars to unlock, so unfortunately blind boxes are going to be one of the fastest ways to unlock them, each blind box costing 500 gold. Cars are based on a rarity system from common to legendary, and honestly, I'm not sure what all rarities there are. I just know I get a lot of commons out of blind boxes and a lot of duplicates. And you can do either one or two things with your duplicates. You can either sell them for 300 gold, which isn't quite enough to buy another blind box, or you can smelt them down for gears to upgrade the cars you do like. These microtransactions are annoying for sure. This isn't a game I'll be spending much money on, or really any money on, outside of the initial purchase. But I have gotten lucky and have gotten some cars from blind boxes that I really love, and I have been purchasing cars from the special deal page to try to complete the collection, or to get more, because there's, like I said, a ton of cars in this game. I'm also not sure if you redo levels in City Rumble if you get the prizes again, so I'm not sure if you could just grind for coins and blind boxes this way. It will be something I might try later on in the future. With so many cars, I'm glad to say that every one of them I've played at has handled relatively uniquely compared to the other cars. Sure, there's a lot of cars you can tell that are very similar, but no two cars for me felt exactly the same. Each cars have different stats like speed, acceleration, braking power, handling, and different styles of boost that makes the car feel unique to handle even after upgrades. I found myself really enjoying the Gucci car, the Velociraptor, the Formula 1 car, and the Dodge Dialora. Unfortunately, the El Camino handles like poo-poo. Just in case you were wondering, the El Camino handles like dog shit. I'm sure with enough practice to see how the car feels, you could probably master any car you really wanted to, but it's really awesome to see just how vast the style of play can be. I've yet to try out the online or track editor, the track editor being something I doubt I'll spend much time on. But one thing I couldn't figure out was how to play other people's custom tracks. Maybe you can't, but I don't see why you couldn't. I'll just have to look into that later. Musically, I love the original score. It bops and it fits a racing game really well. Also really love the sound effects throughout the game, especially some of the vehicles that have special sound effects when you reach full speed, like the Velociraptor screeches or the Dialora has like surfing music. Does this screech when you use the boost? Oh my god, it does a little surf jingle when you hit the like ultra speed. The attention to detail and design is just awesome in this game. This is exactly what I was looking for in an arcade racer. I could definitely go without the microtransactions and the blind boxes, but I still had a blast playing this one and found myself wanting to play it and completing the City Rumble map. This is one that I would definitely highly recommend.
Katamari, Damacy.
Katamari Damacy Reroll is the last game I grabbed in this trip. It's a game I've looked at a couple of times on Walmart's clearance rack, but I never knew much about the game, but I finally decided to try it out. Now normally I'd grab a game like this on the Switch. I don't know why, but I just love the Switch as a console, and I tend to grab any game I can on the Switch over any other console. But when there's almost a $10 difference between the Switch and the PS4 version, I guess I'm grabbing the PS4 version. Being new to the series, I really didn't know what to expect going into this one. As soon as you start up the game, you are introduced to some bright and colorful cutout animation and a jamming score. I just really like the game's aesthetic right out of the gate. At the start, you're brought into a tutorial level that goes over the controls, and right then and there I lost some of my enthusiasm for what I was about to experience. The controls, or base controls for the game, I hated. I really hated the feel of the game. The mechanics are simple. You just roll around a ball, you can do like a boost move, and you can do a jump to see the map, but otherwise you're just pushing around a big ball. But personally, I thought the standard controls was just awful using both thumbsticks. Sure, the mechanics of the game are going to be a bit of getting used to, but I don't know how well I personally would have been able to get used to these. You can change the controls though from 2 sticks to 1, and personally I found this layout to be a lot easier and a lot more comfortable. It still took me a little while to get a hang of the controls, but I was able to grasp this layout a lot better. Apparently though, Reroll is a remake of Katamari Damacy that I won't make any comparisons to because I didn't know that until writing this. But the story of Katamari Damacy is a simple one. The king of all cosmos destroys all the stars in the sky, including the moon, and then sends his son, the prince, to Earth with a Katamari to roll around. sticking stuff to the ball and collecting objects for the king to turn back into stars and repair the universe. Each level is basically creating a star or a constellation. To create one, you're dropped into a map, starting off at different sizes, and have a certain amount of time to grow your Katamari to the goal length, or a certain amount of time to collect as much of one object as possible. For some levels, you also need to avoid objects to collect an object of a certain size, although size doesn't always matter, because on those levels, I just collected the first item I saw and was able to move on to the next level. As you start a level, you're only able to collect certain items relative to the size of your Katamari. You roll around the map collecting as much as you can to try and grow your Katamari as large as possible. Once you reach a certain size, you can start collecting larger objects, and really, sky is the limit. Well, not really. The larger you get, you'll also unlock other areas on the map with larger and larger objects to collect in your Katamari. As the game went on, especially towards the end of the game, the size that you grow to is absurd to say the least. You can also pretty much collect anything in the map. Literally, like everything. From erasers to dogs to peoples to cars to buildings to giant squids, sometimes all on the same level. Some of the things you can stick to your Katamari is just absolutely hilarious. When you see people freak out and run from you because you can suck them up with your Katamari, it's just always funny. But there are moments where the controls can be frustrating. There's a bit of physics to the game, you need momentum to go some places, and sometimes you have too much momentum and roll over the spot you're wanting to go. Sometimes you can get stuck as well, which is frustrating when the time is ticking, and as you're trying to work your way out, your Katamari is getting smaller because stuff is flying off of it. I did find though that for the most part, the timer is relatively generous. Even with the timer, there's just something kind of relaxing about rolling around a map sucking up everything you roll over. Although, I can find most of the game somewhat therapeutic, the controls mixed with the momentum and the nature of the game can lead to some frustrating moments. But thankfully, the game doesn't stick around much longer than it's welcome. I finished the story with just over 4.5 hours, right around the time I was feeling pretty much done with it. For those who really love the game, there is more to do. Beat your records, collect everything, find all the king's presents in the levels, play online or with others, but for me, the story ended right around the time I was feeling tired of the gimmick. While I did enjoy this one, I don't really ever see myself picking it back up. And that's pretty much all I got for you today. I didn't really know where to end the video, so I just thought I would just do this. If you ever want to see me play any of the games that I talked about, there will be gameplay videos on my gaming channel. There will be a link in the description below. I do want to take a second to say thank you for all the support on the Threads video. It's been kind of crazy how much traction that video has gotten, especially here recently. And I really do appreciate it. If you're stumbling across my channel and you like what I do, I really appreciate the support, and I hope you do enjoy the videos. These videos take a long time for me to make, and I just kind of want to make videos that I want to make them how I want to make them, and I'm just trying to have fun with it. And I have been so far, and I hope that you enjoy them. It takes me a long time to upload something. These videos, like I said, just take a lot of time, a lot of work, and I do have a full-time job, so it's a little... I'm devoting a lot of my free time into doing these videos, so I hope you do enjoy them. I just, like I said, have a blast making them. I had a blast playing these games, and I hope you enjoy watching this. I guess I'm rambling, so cue the outro. Well, okay then.